Sachas Nedarim Daf Beis. It takes us to the end of the third parak of the Masechta. Contains a number of Agadata topics. Talks about the Mila performed by Moshe Rabbeinu as he was attacked by a snake. Talks about Mila in general. Talks about Avram Avinu and a number of other smaller subjects. So we're in the middle of discussion of Moshe Rabbeinu was attacked by the Malach who was trying to kill him for not having placed a high enough priority on the Mila of his son. So the Gemara says that there was a drasha said by Rabbi Yehuda bar Bizna at the time that Moshe Rabbeinu was negligent in performing the Mila. Two malachim called Af and Chema, two words which mean anger, came and swallowed him, and they didn't leave anything except his feet, meaning they swallowed him up to the place of his Mila. Right away, Tzipora took a rock and she did the Mila. She took a sharp stone and she did the Mila on her son. Instantly, they left him. At that time, Moshe Rabbeinu got hold of them and wanted to kill them. Like it says, Heref me'af va'azov chema. Pasuk where Hashem was saying, let go of Af and Chema, meaning to show that Moshe Rabbeinu had grabbed them and was trying to kill them. Some say they actually did kill Chema, like it says, Chema ainly, Chema is lost. So the Gemara asks, but there's a different pasuk that says, Ki agarti mepnei Afa Chema. I was afraid of Afa and Chema. That shows that Chema was around. So the Gemara says there's either two different Chemas. One was killed and one is around, according to this opinion, or it's not that he was afraid of Chema, but of Chema's army. Now the Gemara brings a brisa which goes back to the topic of Mila, similar to the Mishnah which we just had. The Gemara quotes, Rabbi says Mila is great, that there was no one who did mitzvahs like Avram Avinu, but he's still only called perfect when he had the Mila. Like it says, only after the Mila did he get the same Tam. And it says, then I will make the bris between me and you. Another thing it says, great is Mila that is weighed against all the other mitzvahs in the Torah, because it says, through all these things, I made a bris with you, which shows that all these things are equal to the bris. Another thing, the Gemara says Mila is great with that because without it, the heavens and earth would not have existed. Like it says in Leberisi, I only created heaven and earth because of the bris. And the Gemara says that disputes Rabbi Eliezer, who holds that that pasuk is referring to Torah. Bris there is referring to the Torah, and it means to say that Torah is so great that if not for it, then Shemaim and Arts would not exist. Again, in Leberisi Yuma Yom V'Layla Chuk Shemaim Arts Leisamti. Next, the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda says, in the name of Rav, at the time that Kadosh Baruch Hu said to Avram Avinu, go before me and be perfect, he was gripped by fear. He said, maybe there's something wrong with me, that Hashem is saying I need to become perfect. But when he said, well, I'll make a bris between you and I, then he was calmed. And he understood that it was just an extra mitzvah that he needed to do that he didn't have yet. Next, the pasuk, the Gemara continues discussing Avram Avinu and that time. So it says, he took him outside. So the Gemara explains that Avram said to Hashem, I looked in my mazel and I'm not going to have children. He said, no, go out of your star gazing, go out of your itztagninos. There is no mazel to Yisrael. You are from Yisrael. You're not from Yisrael, but you are a member of Klal Yisrael, and you don't have any limitations based on the stars. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yitzchak says, anybody who acts wholesomely with the Kadosh Baruch Hu acts wholesomely with him, like it says, Im chasid tis chasad, im gavar tamim titamam, you will act wholesomely with those who act wholesomely. Says Rav Yesha, anybody who is wholesome, who acts well, the time becomes auspicious for him, like it says, Hashem said, be tamim with me, and then it says, you will be the father of many nations. That is the time that you will have success. Success was promised to Avram when he was qualifying as a tamim during that time. So that's thinking more further. Rabbi says anybody who is menachesh, he has nachesh after, meaning somebody tries to tell the future, he is left at the whims of other forces, meaning to say if he tries to divine the future by trusting other forces, he will be left at the mercy of those forces. So the Gemara brings a pasuk to support that. It says, Kilo nachash b'Yakov, that if somebody is like that, then he will have nachash. He will have the sorcery in Yaakov. So the Gemara says the word lo there is spelled with an aleph. It's lamed aleph, which means they will not have nachash. So the Gemara accepts that. The Gemara therefore says it's not based on that. A pasuk is to mida connected mida. If he places his trust in those forces, then they will have control over him. Now the Gemara says that Ava Breder Rabbi Zeir brought a brayso that said any person who is not minachesh, who does not do sorcery, he gets to behind the mechitas, behind the walls, that even the malach yasharis are not allowed to go. Like it says, Kilo nachash b'Yaakov lo kesem b'Yisrael. Next, the Gemara quotes Rabbi Avo, name of Rabbi Elazar, that says, why was Avram Avinu punished that his children had to go to Mitzrayim for 210 years? Gemara brings a few explanations. One thing Gemara says because in the war against the 4 kings, he drafted Talmidei Chachamim, like it says, V'yarak es chanicha v'yelidei beisai. Shmuel says because he doubted HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because he asked, how will I know that I'll have a child who will inherit me? Rabbi Yochanan says because he missed an opportunity to be Makar people under the wings of the Shekhinah. Like it says when Sodom said, the king of Sodom was saying, give me the people, Avram should have said that he's insisting on holding on to the people so that he could be Makar of them. Now, about Vayarkas Chanichov, which we mentioned earlier, that he armed his people to go out to war with them against the 4 kings. The Gemara has a few explanations of the word Vayarek. Rav says it's from the word horikon, which means empty them out. He emptied them out of their Torah learning because they could have learned during that time. Shmuel says that he made them shine, horikon meaning shine, by giving them gold. Next, the Gemara says there were 318 men. The Torah says Rav Ami Bar Abba says Eliezer was equal to all of them. And some say Eliezer was the only one, that the 318 really refers to Eliezer because the gematria of the word Eliezer is 318. Rav Ami Bar Abba says that Avram Avinu was 3 years old when he recognized the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You see that because it says Ekev Shashama Avram Bekoli Hashem, listen to Hashem's voice, like the word Ekev, which is gematria 172. That means it was 172 years out of the 175 years that he began, that he was Yarei Shemayim. That means that he was 3 years old when he began that situation. Now the Gemara brings another gematria. The Gemara says the Satan only has control of the world for all of the days except for one. That means he only has a force of evil in the world except for one day. That is 364 days of the year, because the word Hasatan is gematria 364. The Gemara now explains the name Avram, which was changed to Avraham. The Gemara says Avram is gematria 243. Avraham is gematria 248. 248 is the number of limbs in the body. In the beginning, Avram only had control over 243 limbs. He did not have full control over his eyes and over his ears. He could not choose what to hear and what to see, just like today we can't choose what to hear and what to see. And he also did not have control over the Milah. He didn't have a milah on the organ. And then once he did the milah, he was given control over that, and he was also given control, just like we could choose today what to touch or where to walk, he could choose what to see and what to hear. The Gemara now quotes a series of psukim in Sefer Koheles, and the Gemara explains them as a mashal for the person's struggle to control the body and the Yetzer Hara through the Yetzer Tov. So the Psukim describe a city, small city, did not have a lot of people in it. It was surrounded by a king who laid siege to it, and there was one poor man who saved it, and people didn't remember the kindness and the wisdom of that poor man. So the Gemara goes through it bit by bit. The Gemara says, Katana with people in it, that the Katana, the small city, refers to the body. The people, there are a few people in it, that refers to the small amount of limbs that a person has. A king, a large king, a great king came and surrounded it. That refers to the Yetzer Hara, who lays siege to it, and he built traps and siege around it. That refers to the Averos that he surrounds us with. Within the body was found a poor, wise man. That refers to the Yetzer Tov, a person's good inclination. He saved the city with his wisdom. That refers to Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim, that he advises people to do, but people don't remember the poor man. That means that when the Yetzer Hara becomes strong and they listen to him, they don't remember the good advice of the poor man and how it worked in the past. Now the Gemara refers to the pasuk in Koheles, which says, "Hachachma ta'oz l'chacham me'asar shalitim." Wisdom is stronger or greater support for the wise man than 10 rulers. So that means that the chachma of tshuva and ma'asim tovim is better than the 10 limbs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 feet, 2 legs, the mouth, and the milah. Rabbi Zachariah says, name Rabbi Shmuel, Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to really have kahuna come out of shame. Like Shem is Malki Tzedek and is called Hu Kohen Lekel Elyon. Shem lost it when he blessed Avram before blessing Kadosh Baruch Hu. Like he said, Vayvarcheyu v'yemer Baruch Avram Lekel Elyon Kainei Shemayim v'aretz Ubaruch Kel Elyon. So Avram said, first you bless the servant, then you bless the master. That's not how you do it. At that moment, the kahuna was taken away from Malki Tzedek, taken from Shem, was given to Avram, like it says, No Hashem Ladeini Shev Li'imidi Ad Asher Sevecha Adam Liraglacha, making Avram Kohanim. And afterwards it says, Nishba Hashem Lo'inachem Ata Kohen Lo'olam Al Divrasi Malki Tzedek. So the Gemara says that means that you became a Kohen because of the words of Malki Tzedek. And Malki Tzedek lost it through his speech, through what he said. And the Gemara says that is why it says about Malki Tzedek, V'hu Kohen Lekel Elyon, he was a Kohen, his children were not a Kohen, because he lost the privilege of passing that on to his children after him.